Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean with your host, Madhulika Rajahan. In our last episode, we talked about usability versus desirability in mobile UX. In this episode, we will talk about the three levels of design. In the human mind, there are numerous areas responsible for what we refer to as emotion. Collectively, these regions comprise the emotional system. Don Norman proposes the emotional system consists of three different yet interconnected levels, each of which influences our experience of the world in a particular way. The three levels are visceral, behavioral, and reflective. The visceral level is responsible for the ingrained, automatic, and almost animalistic qualities of human emotion, which are almost entirely out of our control. The behavioral level refers to the controlled aspect of human action, where we unconsciously analyze a situation so as to develop goal directed strategies most likely to prove effective in the shortest time or with the fewest actions possible. The reflective level is, as Don Norman states, the home of reflection, of conscious thought, of learning of new concepts and generalizations about the world. These three levels, while classified as separate dimensions of the emotional system, are linked and influence one another to create our overall emotional experience of the world. Let's look at each level separately. In emotional design, why we love or hate everyday things is considered. Don Norman, a prominent academic in the field of cognitive science, design, and usability engineering, distinguishes between three aspects or levels of the emotional system. That is the sum of the parts responsible for the emotions in the human mind, which are as follows: the visceral, behavioral, and reflective levels. Each of these levels or dimensions, while heavily connected and interwoven in the emotional system, influences design in its own specific way. Visceral design. Visceral refers to the gut in this instance. It's a reference to the concept of gut instinct. It's a subconscious level of reaction to certain experiences. For example, if you're taken to see your local landfill before you've ever arrived, you'll be pretty certain that you won't like the smell and that the rodent population may cause you certain amount of distress. Conversely, you might be taken to an exhibition of luxury automobiles and before you arrived, you'll be looking forward to the smell of the fresh leatherly upholstery and the cool curves of the vehicles arrayed around you. The visceral reaction is one triggered by the initial sensory scan of the experience. It's immediate and often beyond our control. It concerns itself with appearances. This level of design refers to the perceptible qualities of the object and how they make the user or the observer feel. For example, a grandfather clock offers no more features or time-telling function than a small, featureless mantelpiece clock. But the visceral or the deep-rooted, unconscious, subjective, and automatic feelings or qualities distinguish the two in the eyes of the owner. Much of the time spent on the product development is now dedicated to visceral design, as most products within a particular group, example torches or flashlights, kettles, toasters, and lamps, tend to offer the same or a similar set of functions. So the superficial aspects help distinguish a product from its competitors. What we are essentially referring to here is branding, namely the act of distinguishing one product from another, not by the tangible benefits it offers the users, but by tapping into the user's attitudes, beliefs, feelings, and how they want to feel so as to elicit such emotional responses. This might be achieved by using pictures of children, animals, or cartoon characters to give something the appearance of youthfulness, or by using colors, for example, red for sexy and black for powerful, shapes like hard-line shapes, or even styles like Art Deco that are evocative of certain eras. Visceral design aimed to get inside the user's, customer's, or observer's head and tug at his or her emotion, either to improve the user experience, that is, improving the general visceral appeal, or to serve some business interest, that is, emotionally blackmailing the customer, user, or observer to make a purchase to suit the company's or business product's owner's objectives. Behavioral design. How does the product feel when we play with it? Do we still like the way it looks? How easy is the product to use? Do we feel like sharing the product with our friends and family? The meat and potatoes of our experience with something comes from the time when we put it into use. This is the most meaningful of experiences, possibly because it encompasses the how it is and now how we perceive it might be. However, to get to behavioral design, we have to pass through the visceral design test first. It has to do with the pleasure and effectiveness of use. Behavioral design is probably more often referred to as usability, but the two terms essentially refer to the practical and functional aspects of a product or anything usable we are capable of using in our environment. Behavioral design, we shall use this term in place of usability from now on, is interested in, for example, how users carry out their activities, how quickly and accurately they can achieve their aims and objectives, how many errors the users make when carrying out certain tasks, and how well the product accommodates both skilled and experienced users. Behavioral design is perhaps the easiest to test, as performance levels can be measured once the physical, example the handles, buttons, grips, levers, switches and keys, or usable parts of an object are changed or manipulated in some way. For instance, buttons responsible for two separate operations might be positioned at varying distances from one another so as to test how long it takes the user to carry out the two tasks consecutively. Alternatively, errors rates might be measured using the same manipulations. Example of experiences at the behavioral level include the pleasure derived from being able to find a contact and make a call immediately on a mobile phone, the ease of typing on a computer keyboard, the difficulty of typing on a small touchscreen device, such as an iPod Touch, and the enjoyment we feel when using a well-designed computer game controller like the N64 control pad. The behavioral level essentially refers to the emotions we feel as a result of either accomplishing or failing to complete our goals. When products or objects enable us to complete our goals with the minimum of difficulty and with little call for conscious effort, the emotions are likely to be positive ones. In contrast, when products restrict us, force us to translate or adjust our goals according to their limitations, or simply make us pay close attention when we are using them, we are more inclined to experience some negative emotion. Reflective design. There was a time when I used to play Candy Crush. It's a game that stays with you long after you put it down. You're drawn mentally back into lining up the three types of candy or more, and all the bells, whistles, and frustration come back to the surface again and again. There is an experience beyond the initial experience of using a product. It's the experience of association and familiarity. How do we feel about the product now we are now not holding? What values do we put on the product in retrospect? If we walk through the whole process of coming across and using a product in hindsight, does it change anything about the way we feel or think we feel about it? The reflective design is much more subtle than the first two, but equally important if we want our designs to have a lasting value for our users. It considers the rationalization and intellectualization of a product. Let's talk about a story about it. Does it appeal to my self-image, to my pride? This is the highest level of emotional design, representing the conscious thought layer, where we consciously approach a design, weighing up its pros and cons, judging it accordingly to a more nuanced and rational side, and extracting information to determine what it means to us as an individual. Reflective thinking allows us to rationalize environmental information to influence the behavioral level. Take, for example, smartwatches. On that note, researchers Jiwon Choi and Songcheol Kim at the University of Korea examined users' intentions to adopt smartwatches under two major factors, namely users' perceptions of the device as a technological innovation and as a luxury fashion product. Users' view of the smartwatch as a technological innovation relates to the perception of the device's usefulness and ease of use, that is, at the behavioral level. On the other hand, the user's view of the smartwatch as a luxury fashion product relates to their perception of how much they would enjoy the smartwatch and levels of self-expressiveness the device will afford them. That is, the ability to express themselves and to enhance their image. Both enjoyment and self-expressiveness are influenced by the visceral level. That is, does the watch look beautiful? But also very much by the reflective level. What will my friend think when they see me wearing the watch? The reflective level mediates the effects of the behavioral level. Users may put up with difficulties and shortcomings in the usability of the smartwatch because they believe they will gain other or non-functional benefits from it. Apple's first version of their smartwatch was riddled with functional problems and usability issues. But that didn't stop the company from generating the second largest worldwide revenue in the watch industry within the first year of selling it. In this video, we have introduced Don Norman's three levels of design: the visceral, behavioral, and reflective design level. The visceral level of design refers to the first impression of a design, both in terms of how the user perceives the product and how it moves or makes the user feel. The behavioral level refers to the experiment of the product in use. We often think of this level when we think of user experience. The reflective level refers to the user's reflections about the product, both before, during, and after its use. The three levels all combine to form the entire product. With this, we come to an end to this episode of All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comment section on what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.